Good morning. All right, I hope everyone's doing well this morning. Hope everyone's feeling good. And if you're not, that's okay. Maybe by the end of class, you'll feel better. All right. All right, fantastic. We're in business. So, this is, of course, a new setting for me teaching yoga. But I want to thank everyone for joining in and participating in this class. Namaste. So today's theme is spring. Tomorrow's Easter, and it's also Passover, a Jewish holiday. And so I'd like us to examine the themes that we recognize in those holidays today as we practice yoga. So Easter is the celebration of renewal and rebirth. Passover is the celebration of freedom from slavery. And while we might not all celebrate those holidays, we all can celebrate spring, which is as well a time for renewal and rebirth. And also we can take this time to contemplate what enslaves us. You know, we all are enslaved in some way, whether it's the modifications of the mind or attachments that we have. So on a beautiful spring day, it's a great time to take a walk and contemplate some ways that we can free ourselves and work to liberate ourselves. So those are some themes we'll be focusing on as we practice our physical asanas as well. All right. And Prasad, I know you're out there. Please feel free to text me if the volume's not good or anything. If you have any suggestions as we go. But I'd like everyone to start in a comfortable seated position. I recommend taking a couple blankets and folding them one on top of the other. This will help to raise your hips up, and it'll be a lot more comfortable to sit on the ground. A few other props that you might like to have handy right now for the practice would be a couple pillows or blocks if you have them. So if you want to go to a different room and gather some blankets or pillows, feel free to now. And then as we sit here on the mat, I'd like you to be aware of how your sit bones are making contact with the earth, with the ground. So you might shift side to side a little bit and feel that contact. And try to make it as even as possible on both sit bones. That's a nice, sturdy foundation for the rest of your posture. Next, be aware of your spine. So early in the morning, we might be a little stiff. The goal is to lengthen through the spine gently. You can imagine as if there's a beautiful flower at the top of your head blossoming up towards the sky. And that will help you to create some length. Never should your posture be forced or painful. So if you're feeling a little achy this morning, just try your best to bring that lengthening to the spine as best as you can. Notice your head and your neck. Is it jutting forward? If so, try to bring your head in alignment with your shoulders and create just the slightest tuck of your chin to feel a lengthening in the back of your neck, just a very slight modification. Place one hand on your belly and the other hand on your heart. And begin to take some deep breaths into your belly. Feel your belly expand like a balloon as you take in a little bit more air. And then feel your abdomen expand as well as you take in a little more air. And then feel your chest rise as you take in a little more air. Once you've inhaled as fully as possible, you'll pause briefly and then slowly, with control and mindfulness, release through your nose. Do that 2 more times at your own pace. Feeling more centered and more present with each breath. Begin to scan your mind as well as your physical body, just noticing any places that might feel tense, maybe feel a little stuck, maybe there's something on your mind that you keep ruminating over. So whatever comes up as you just notice, see if you can treat those things that come up with kindness, with acceptance. It's sometimes tricky if we deal with chronic pain or anxiety or depression. It's tricky to treat any negativity with acceptance, right? But if we're able to say, okay, I recognize that this is how I'm feeling. Maybe say something like, this belongs, or I will allow this right now. We create a little more space for it, and then maybe we're able to continue to redirect our mind to other things within our body. If we allow those bad things to happen, then we free our minds, free ourselves to allow ourselves to deal with other things in our life. We don't have to dwell on it. We can liberate ourselves. So one technique is to treat your thoughts like you would a dear loved one or friend. You would say, it's okay. It's all right. We'll get through it. And to begin class, we'll begin with 3 chants of Om. So we'll begin on an inhale. And just notice how your body feels after those Oms. Feel the stillness. You might feel more peaceful, yet more awake at the same time. Just noticing what comes up after you chant. And then very slowly, with control, make your way all the way down to your back. And when we're on our back, I want you to be really aware of your lower and mid back. So you might notice you feel a little bit of a gap between your back and your mat. I want you to ground your entire back into the mat to get rid of any gaps. Now you can have, actually I'd like everyone to bend their knees, have the soles of their feet on the mat, and then walk your feet really wide, even wider than mat width. Now take your arms and bring them above your head on the ground, and you'll take your left elbow with your right hand and your right elbow with your left hand. This will open up your chest and create lengthening in the side body. This is also good for lymphatic drainage. Take a deep inhale in, and as you exhale, lower just your right knee towards the center. And when you're ready to inhale, lift your knee back up. Nice deep full inhale. And then as you exhale again, lower the left knee down to the center. You'll feel a nice stretch in your hip. Inhale back up, and do this a few more times at your own pace. You might want to spread your feet a little further apart. Create any adjustments that you need to enjoy this pose. A couple more times. This should feel really good on your lower back as well. All right, now walk your feet closer together again and hug in your knees. Feel free to rock from side to side. All right, now finding stillness, extend your legs all the way up to the sky. Push out through your heels, so you're flexing your feet. Toes are going to try to point down towards your face. Heels are reaching up towards the sky. Remember, keep your back grounded here. So at first, this might seem easy. If you stay here and really engage your legs and ground your back, you'll start to feel this in your abdominals. Just creating a little heat, a little fire in the belly. Now take a deep inhale in, and as you exhale, lower your right leg with control to the ground. And when you're ready to inhale, raise it back up. So try not to let it touch the ground. Full inhale back to the top. Now as you exhale, lower the left leg down to the ground. If this is a little challenging, you can hold onto the sides of your mat, and that will help you to keep your back grounded. Inhale back up. One more time on each side. Everyone breathes at a different pace. So let your movement match your breath. Don't match the breath to the movement. Inhale back up. Hug your knees in, just to give your back a little break. And then we'll try that again. All right, extend your legs back up. Now this time, if you want even more of a challenge, you can lower both legs and lift them at the same time. If you want to do one leg at a time, please do so. So it's a deep inhale in and exhale with control. Nice and controlled. Down to the ground. Inhale, lift. And then we'll do that one more time. If you were doing one leg, you'll repeat with the other leg. Once you've gotten back to the top, go ahead and hug your knees in again. Rock side to side. Now bring your knees into a 90-degree angle. Inhale deeply. Exhale, tap your toes to the mat. So you're trying to keep that 90-degree angle in your legs. Inhale back up. Exhale with control, tap. Inhale back up. So you're not just bending your knees, right? You're lowering those legs, keeping a 90-degree angle. So once again, continue to do this a few more times, following your breath. Inhale up, exhale down. All right, now bring your knees back to a 90-degree angle. And we're just going to start bicycling. So you're still keeping your back and head on the ground. And see how smooth and circular you can make these movements. So imagine you really are riding a bicycle. Don't cheat anywhere and skip or create a square or a weird egg shape. See if you can really focus and pay attention to each movement and try to make this as smooth and even as you can. All right, now switch directions. That might feel a little weird. This might be yoga for your mind, doing something that feels unusual or that we don't usually use our muscles for. All right, and go ahead and rest the soles of your feet on the ground and walk your feet really close to your sit bones. We're getting ready for a bridge. So walk your feet as close as they can go to your bottom, your sit bones. Press your palms into the mat, and on an inhale, lift your hips up off the ground. Now you can stay here. Oh, and please try not to move your neck in this pose. So if you need to see what I'm doing, take a look and then go into your pose. You can stay here, or if you'd like to, you can walk your hands clasping them together and you're coming up onto your triceps. This will help you to get a greater lift in your hips and deepen the chest opening as well. Try not to let your knees splay. Imagine as if you have a block between your knees. Continue to breathe. One more really big inhale. See if you can lift your hips as high as they can go. And then as you begin to exhale, first lower your shoulders, blades back to the mat. And then one vertebrae at a time, roll down. And just take a moment to notice how your body feels. You might want to place one hand on your belly, one hand on your heart. A couple deep belly breaths. Reconnecting with our body. All right. Now hug your knees into your chest and open your arms out to the sides, making a T shape with your body. Your palms will be facing up. Inhale deeply and exhale, lower your knees to the right side. You can take your right hand and gently place it on top of your legs. And if you'd like to, you can look out over your left hand for a deeper stretch in your neck. You can also keep your head facing the ceiling. If you desire, it's a little more gentle on your neck. Notice anywhere in your body that you might feel tension. And see if you can breathe into that space and let a little bit of that tension go. What can you release? Alright, now bring your knees back to center. Hug them in again just to re-ground your back. Realign your spine. And extend your right arm out to the side, palm facing up. And lower your knees to the left. You can have your left hand on top of your legs, or you can extend your left arm as well. If you choose, you can gaze out over your right fingertips. What can you release? What can you let go of? And bring your knees back to center. Hug them in. And now see if you can rock up to a seated position. If that was too challenging, or if you're not able to get up that way, you can also roll over to the side and push yourself up. So now here in our seated position, I'd like you to lift your knees or your shins, feet up off the ground again, coming into a boat pose. So try not to round your back, try to keep your chest open and your back straight. Arms can come out parallel with the floor, parallel with the shins. Now we'll do some rocking and rolling. So make sure you have enough room on the mat that you won't hit your head on a hard floor or anything like that. We're going to rock back. And then when you come back up, see if you can keep that boat shape. Okay, try it a couple times. This should feel really good on your back. And it's also a great core challenge and back strengthener. It's very playful too, so feel free to smile. Smile as you do this. It's spring, right? Alright, and lower your legs down to the ground when you're ready. And come on up to a tabletop position. So in tabletop, your back should be straight, so try not to create any kind of curve in the back. It should be as straight as possible. Hands, fingers are spread really wide, and they're aligned right underneath your shoulders. Knees are underneath your hips. And if you look between your knees, you should not see your feet, so you might need to tuck them out of the way. Alright, first coming into some cat-cows. So as you inhale, your belly will drop, your tailbone and your head will gaze up. And as you exhale, starting with your tailbone, start to curl it under. Your back will arch. And your head will look down. You'll bring your gaze to your knees or your navel. And inhale back to cow. Let each motion start with your tailbone. And let your body flow like a wave. Nice and fluid, nice and smooth. See if you can be aware of how your body feels with every single movement. After your next exhale, so after a cat, come back to a neutral spine, inhaling fully. Now imagine you have a tail and you're trying to look over your shoulder at your tail. You'll feel a nice stretch in the side body. Inhale back to center, nice full inhale. And exhale, look over the other shoulder. Do this one more time on each side. All right. Next, whenever you're finished, no rush, look down at where your hands are. Now lower your forearms down to the ground so your elbow lands exactly where your hand was. Your arms or forearms should be parallel to one another, so it's making the number 11. And then walk your knees back a couple of inches. We're setting ourselves up for puppy. Now you'll straighten your arms, lower your chest down to the mat. And your chest probably won't actually touch the mat, but you're thinking about opening up your chest and reaching it towards the mat. You can set your forehead on the mat, your mouth, or your chin, depending on what feels best for you. If you have any neck problems or spinal issues at all, I recommend your forehead on the mat because that will keep your neck neutral. Make sure you're never holding your breath. Make sure you're always breathing. And when you're ready, come out of puppy. Coming into a good old-fashioned plank, realign your hands, fingers spread wide, under your shoulders. Walk your feet back, coming into a plank. Your body is nice and straight. You can hold it for a few seconds. And then we'll come on down to the ground by doing a chaturanga. So you'll keep your elbows squeezed into your sides as you slowly lower your body to the ground. All right, go ahead and set your body on the ground. Keep your hands where they are. Now glue your feet together like the tail of a snake. And you'll start with your forehead on the mat. Breathe here and notice as you take deep inhales in, your chest rises up a little bit off the mat. On your next inhale, I'd like you to lift your head and chest off the mat, but keep your neck neutral. So it's tempting to crane our necks to try to guide us upwards. But I'd like you to actually look down at the mat, and this will keep your neck neutral here. So make sure you're breathing. Exhale, lower. Inhale, back to cobra. Full deep inhale. How high can you go by using that inhale? Exhale, lower. Keep your feet glued together. Elbows glued to your sides. One more time. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. Great job. Very briefly, we'll do a crocodile. So make a pillow with your hands. Bring your toes out to the sides, heels in, and rest one cheek on that pillow. This feels really nice after the cobra. Bring the opposite hand on top and switch cheeks, just to get an even stretch in your neck. All right, now bring your feet back to a neutral position and extend your arms out to the sides. Your palms will be facing down. Now we're going to do a deep chest opener. So you'll start, I'm going to start with my left hand so I can see you and you can see what I'm doing. I'm going to walk my fingers, my left fingers, away from me as I roll onto my side body, my left side body. So you'll keep walking your fingers away until you can't roll over anymore. Now you might feel the stretch just with your knee in front of you, like this. Or if you want a deeper stretch, you can take your top leg and bring it all the way behind you And this will create a twist as well throughout your torso. Don't hold your breath. Breathe into any space you might feel tension. And rolling back to center. Switch arms. Palms are facing down. And then you'll walk your fingertips away from you as you roll over onto the other side. And assume the variation that feels right for you. When you're ready, roll on back to your belly. And then we'll come on to a different type of plank. This is a lower plank on our forearms. So I'd like you to clasp your fingers, hands together. And this will be the base for the plank. Now start just by lifting onto your knees. Alright, so you'll start to feel the weight come into your arms. And then if you are ready, you can always stay here and breathe and engage your core. Keep your back straight, make sure it doesn't round or arch. But if you're ready, you can step your feet back to a plank. Now you'll lift your hips into dolphin. And lower back to plank. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. Inhale, lift. Tailbone really reaches up to face the sky. Exhale, lower. See if you can do this a couple more times. And whenever you need to, set your knees down and bring yourself into a child's pose. So knees spread nice and wide, if that feels good for you, and lower your chest down to the ground. Take a few really deep belly breaths here in child's pose. This will help to expand your belly, expand your back, and create more length in your lower back. And then on each exhale, you might feel as if your tailbone, your sit bones, can come a little closer to your feet. Just feel everything release and relax. Allow your breath to help you. Take 3 more deep inhales and exhales in child's pose. And then when you've finished your third exhale, come back up and meet everyone in tabletop. Alright, once you're back in tabletop, you can walk your hands a little bit forward. We're going to come into a down dog. So tuck your toes under and lift your tailbone up towards the sky. So feel free to keep your knees really generously bent here. Many of us are still warming up this morning, and bending our knees will allow us to project our backs and keep a nice lengthened spine. And you'll feel a great chest opener if you bend your knees. And bring some movement into your down dog. So you can bend your right knee, lower your left heel to the ground, and then switch, alternating. Feel that great stretch in the backs of your legs. Or maybe you want to bring some other type of movement into down dog. So liberate yourself from a very rigid idea of what this pose needs to be, and keeping safety precautions in mind, feel free to bring a little bit of movement in as you need. Now sweeping our bodies forward, keeping your toes tucked under, you'll come into an up dog. Exhale, push back to down dog. Inhale, sweep up to up dog. Legs are off the ground, they're not resting on the ground. So do this a few more times. Really feeling our arms working, creating some heat in the body. And from a down dog, you can walk or jump your feet forward, coming into a ragdoll. So separate your feet a little bit, about hip width apart, and let your head hang heavy. So everything is just releasing here. Bend your knees really generously. That'll feel really good on your back. Grab opposite elbows with your hands. So your right hand grabs your left elbow, left hand grabs your right elbow. And breathe. Feel free to sway. And releasing your arms. Roll up nice and slowly to a standing position. Alright, so stand here in mountain at the front of your mat. And for mountain, you can think about your toes coming together, heels a little bit apart. And if this feels tight on your hips or your lower back, you can bring a little bit of space between your feet. So find what feels right for you. Hips are even, notice what you're doing with your hips. Try to keep them even. Shoulders are aligned over your hips. Head is between your shoulders, just like we went through when we were seated as well. Alright, and your hands can be facing your legs or facing forward. Feel your feet connect with the mat, with the earth, so to speak. Imagine as if you are rooting your feet into the ground. Feel your feet connect with the mat on all surfaces of your soles of your feet and your toes. So you're really becoming aware of how your feet are making contact with the mat. You can close your eyes if you'd like to. Notice your back. Try to get rid of any deep sway in your back. So instead of an arch, we want to just gently get rid of any sway. Just gently tucking our tailbone down, pelvis scoops forward. Remember, nothing's ever forced or harsh. It's always gentle, subtle corrections. Alright, bring your arms out to the side, palms facing forward, and really reach out through your fingers. You probably already feel a nice stretch or opening in your arms. To add an even deeper stretch, just look over at your fingertips. Breathing. Keep your fingers spread wide and stretched out. Bring your head back to center and look over the other side. Head back to center. And now start to make some circles with your arms. So don't go really fast, that's going to use momentum. Instead we want to use muscle, and we want to allow this to allow us to feel all the ways our arms, shoulders, and pectorals are working to help us make these circles. Remember, make these motions smooth and switch directions. If you're having any shoulder pain or you've ever had shoulder surgery, you might want to make these circles smaller and not create such big motions with the joints. And bring your arms back down, back to mountain. Notice how our arms feel. They probably feel tingly, more awake. And inhale, we'll begin with some sun salutations, but we'll bring some variations in. So keep listening to follow along with these variations. Inhale, sweep your arms up overhead. Exhale, fold forward, hinging from the hips. Bend your knees if you need. Fingers touch the ground. Inhale, halfway lift. Your back is like a tabletop. Exhale, hands back to the ground. And step your right leg back. So now you're in a lunge. Make sure your knee is aligned over your heel, not past it. And your hips should be both facing the mat. Your heel is off the ground. This is not warrior one. This is going to be a lunge. So make sure your toes are tucked, heels off the ground. And when you're ready, lift your upper body up. Arms reach for the sky. Now we're in a high lunge here. Breathe. Maybe see how far you can just sink your hips down, feeling a really great stretch in the hip flexor on the right side. Now to create even greater of a challenge, you'll take your left arm, and as you exhale, you'll turn to tap your right thigh with your left arm. Inhale back to center. Let's try it again. Exhale, twist. Inhale back to center. One more time. Exhale, twist. And inhale back to center. Lower your fingertips down as you exhale and step your left leg back to plank. Hold it for 3, 2, 1. And then you can Ashtanga or Chaturanga down to the mat. Inhale, Cobra or Up Dog. Exhale, Downward Dog. Stay here in Down Dog for a few breaths. Pedaling your feet, once again doing what feels right for you right now. Alright. Now inhale, your right leg up to the sky. This is a one-legged down dog. Look between your hands and step your right leg forward. We're in a lunge once again. Now take your right hand and bring it on the inside of your right thigh. Walk your right foot all the way to the right side of the mat. We're in lizard here. Set your back knee down, top of your foot down to protect your knee. Now you can stay here if your hips are really tight like mine are. Just go face you so you can see what that looks like from the front. So your right foot is all the way to the right side of the mat. Your hands are on the inside of your foot. Your knee is down on the back leg and the top of your back foot is resting on the mat. Take a couple deep breaths here, and once again, what can you let go of? What can you relax? If you want to go deeper, you'll probably start by bringing your forearms down to the mat. This is a really great time to have a block or two, as you can set your forearms down on the blocks. So find the position and the variation that's right for you today. Breathing, smiling. If you are up here on your hands, maybe you want to see if you can just start by bending your elbows, bringing you a little bit lower. Just playing with the different variations. Now come back up onto your palms if you were down further, and walk your foot back to the center. Bring your toes to tuck and lift your knee up on the back leg and step back into plank. All right, back to a down dog. Look between your hands and walk or step your feet to the front of the mat. Back to forward fold. And inhale, lift up. Hands to prayer. Pause just for a moment. And we'll repeat on the other side. Inhale, sweep your arms up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Really squeeze your shoulder blades together here. Exhale, hands to the mat. Step your left leg back. All right, remember we're setting ourselves up for a high lunge here. So do what you need to do to feel really stable with your lower half. And then we'll inhale when you're ready, up to a high lunge. Knee in the front is not past your toes, and your hips are facing forward. Now to make this even more fun, we'll take our right hands, and as we exhale, twist to tap that left thigh, the back of the thigh. Inhale, forward, exhale, twist. Do this 3 times total. Inhale deeply. Exhale, hands to the mat, and step your right foot back to plank. Once again, hold it for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now your choice, Ashtanga or Chaturanga. As you exhale and as you inhale, Cobra or Up Dog. Knees down, tuck your toes, exhale back to Downward Facing Dog. Enjoy the stretch and breathe for a few cycles of breath in Down Dog. And then we'll get ready for Lizard on the other side. Lift your left leg up into one-legged Down Dog. Look between your hands and step your left leg forward into a low lunge. Now walk your left foot all the way over to the left side of the mat, bringing your left hand on the inside of your left thigh. Set your right knee down and the top of your right foot on the mat. Now your choice here, if you want to use blocks, if you want to lower all the way down, if you're feeling flexible, this is your practice. And we can't even see you today, unfortunately, but you're only doing this for yourself. You don't need to conform to your idea of what the pose should look like. Rather, I want you to feel it and feel the benefit that the variation you chose is giving your body. When you're ready, walk your foot back to the center between both hands. Tuck your toe of the back foot back under and step back into down dog. Enjoy down dog for a few cycles of breath. And look forward and walk or jump your feet to the front of the mat. Inhale, sweep your arms up to standing. And hands to prayer. Relax into mountain. Feel free to get a drink of water at this time. Or maybe practice your Ujjayi breathing. So victorious breath. It's where we make the sound of the ocean with our breathing. You're contracting the muscles in your throat a bit. Imagine as if you're in a steamy bathroom and you're trying to fog up the mirror. Those are the muscles that you're engaging in your throat when we do Ujjayi breathing, although your mouth is closed. So you can try it out. It should be audible to yourself or the others around you. Ujjayi breath helps to relax our nervous system, slows down our breathing, any racing thoughts we might have, and it helps us to regain control over our breath. All right, we'll do another round of some sun salutations of variations. So come to the front of your mat. Inhale, sweep your arms up overhead. Exhale, bend backwards. Inhale, straighten. Exhale, forward fold. Fingertips touch the mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Back is straight like a tabletop. You're squeezing your shoulder blades. Exhale, hands to the mat. Step your right leg back. All right, now set your right knee on the mat. Tops of the right foot on the mat. Now we're in a low lunge. You'll sweep your arms up and enjoy this stretch. Make sure your shoulders are down away from your ears. You can even create a bend in your elbows to help keep your shoulders away from your ears. It might feel good to open your arms up. Surrender. What can we let go of today? Judgments, fears, inhibitions. You can go ahead and lower your hands back to the mat. Untuck your toes and step your left foot back to plank. Hold it for 3, 2, 1. Chaturanga or Ashtanga. Down to the mat. Inhale. Up dog or cobra. Exhale to down dog. Pedal your feet. All right, now lift your right leg up to the sky. One-legged down dog. And then bend your right knee and stack your right hip on top of your left. You're going to gaze underneath your right armpit. And you'll feel really intense stretching in the right side of your body. Should feel really good. Back to one-legged down dog. Now you'll sweep your leg forward, coming into a pigeon pose. So let me show you what that looks like from the front. From one-legged down dog, you'll sweep your leg forward. Your back leg is totally resting on the mat. Top of your foot is resting on the mat of the back leg. And this front leg, ideally, you want your shin to be parallel with the mat. But remember, we never want to force anything. So just try to guide it as best as you can while still being gentle and mindful of your body. Mine's definitely not parallel today, and that's okay. So you can use a block if you have it, or a pillow or two, and place it under your right hip if you feel like you need some support. So this will probably feel a lot better for some folks. Now start to lower your torso towards the mat. Forearms can start to prop you up. If this is too intense, come on back up to your palms. If you want more of a stretch, you might even choose to completely extend your arms out and let your forehead rest on the mat. Take some deep breaths, allowing the breaths to carry you deeper into the pose. Allow you to feel the stretch as deeply as possible. Really stay aware as you practice yoga. How many different ways can you feel this posture right now in your body? Bring your hands back up to the mat. If you're using a block under your hips, move that block out of the way. And bring your leg back to a down dog. Look forward and jump or walk your feet to the front of the mat. Inhale, sweep your arms up. Exhale, hands to prayer. And bring your hands down to mountain just for a few breaths. We'll repeat that on the other side. When you're ready, inhale, sweep your arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Really squeeze your shoulder blades together. Exhale, hands down, step your left leg back. Let your left knee and top of your foot rest on the mat. And when you're ready, sweep your upper torso and arms up to a low crescent lunge. If you'd like to, you can open your arms out to the sides. Once again, this is your practice. Find a variation with your arms that feels good today for you. And bring your hands back to the mat. Tuck your toes back under, lift your knee off, and step your right leg back to plank. You know what to do. Inhale and exhale, Ashtanga or Chaturanga, down to the mat. Inhale, up dog or cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Couple breaths in downward facing dog. And lift your left leg up to the sky, one-legged down dog. Now bend your left knee and stack your left hip on top of your right. So now they're in a flat plane, perpendicular with the floor. And you'll gaze under your left armpit. Make sure you're breathing. one-legged down dog. And sweep your left leg to that pigeon position. Walk your back leg back, set the top of your foot on the mat, and use your block if you'd like to place under your left hip. And then find the variation that feels right for you. If you're feeling tight today, maybe just rest on your hands. If you want to take it a little deeper, your forearms. And if you want to go even deeper, you'll extend your arms and rest your forehead on the mat. If this is not accessible at all to you today, that's fine. You can lay on your back. Set your ankle on top of your thigh and bring your thigh up towards your torso. This is a supine pigeon. It stretches your legs and hamstrings and thighs in a very similar way. It's just not as intense. So it's a great alternative if you're not able to work on this pose today. Alright, when you're ready, tuck your back toes under and step back to downward facing dog. Gaze forward and walk or jump your feet to the front of the mat. Inhale, sweep your arms up. Exhale, hands to prayer. So bring your fingertips down towards to face the ground, back to mounted. Once again, noticing how you feel right now. No matter what comes up, see if you can treat it with kindness and acceptance. Feel free to smile. If you have a window open, you might hear the birds chirping. If we step outside, you might see some daffodils starting to bloom. It's spring, and it's a time to celebrate renewal, rebirth. All right, so from here, you stay at the front of your mat. I'll come this way so you can see what I'm doing. I'd like you to step your feet pretty wide, so I'll show you here. About hip width apart, or maybe even a little more. All right, we're gonna work on some warrior poses. So step your right leg back, keeping that same distance between your feet. So you can think of it like two railroad tracks. And you'll step your right leg back. Now this time your heel will touch the mat on that back leg. Your toes are at an angle, pointing away and forward. Right. Now your hips probably kind of shifted to the right. Take your hips and direct them towards the front of your mat. Now as you do this, you might find that you have shifted more weight to the inner edge, that arch of your foot. If that happened, take a little bit more of a wider stance and see if you can redistribute the weight to the little toe edge of your foot. Adding a little more weight to that side rather than the inner arch is going to strengthen, or it's going to protect your knee and also help you to create a more stable foundation. All right, so your hips are facing forward, your knee is bent, but not past your toes. Inhale your arms up. This is warrior one. Once again, feel free to create a bend in your elbows to keep your shoulders away from your ears. Now interlace your hands behind your back, clasping your fingers. Inhale, open up. Exhale, Hinge from the hips into humble warrior. You'll imagine as if you're trying to bite your big toe, and that will help guide your torso closer towards the mat. Arms reach up towards the sky. Make sure you're not holding your breath. Make sure you're breathing. And inhale, back to warrior one. All right, now shifting to warrior two, you want to bring your feet in one line now, one railroad track. So readjust as needed. You're still keeping that diagonal with your back foot. Now instead of your hips facing forward, now you want your hips facing the long edge of your mat. When you do this, you might notice your knee has caved in. So now take your knee and realign it right over your heel. Whew. All right, extend your arms out to the sides. So you're reaching in both directions. Your gaze is over your left fingertips. Flip your left palm up and reach your arm up. Your right hand will gently rest on your back leg. Gaze into your hand and exhale. Side angle, your left forearm will rest on your left thigh. Right fingertips reach up overhead. Flow with this a couple of times. From reverse warrior to side angle. All right, now set your right palm on the mat as you pivot up on your back toes. Your heels off the ground of your back toes. Set your right palm on the mat and reach your left fingertips up towards the sky. Fingertips of our hands of both hands back to the mat. Now you're in a lunge. Let's see, from here, go ahead and just step your back leg forward to a forward fold. And nice and slow, roll on up to standing. You can reach your arms up. Feel free to take a back bend if you'd like. And release your arms. Great, how did that feel? What was that? So just tell yourself, how are you feeling right now? So check in. You probably feel it in your legs. Great, we're waking our body up, creating energy flowing through our body. You're going to feel great all day today. All right. So separate your feet. Once again, we're going to repeat that on the other side. And step your left leg back. Remember, this is warrior one. So there's space between your feet. Your hips are facing forward. And then you reach your arms up. Maybe bend your knee a little bit more. And when you bend your knee, if your knee goes past your heel, maybe you just need to walk your front foot forward or step your back leg back a little bit. The weight is distributed more on the back edge, the little toe edge of your foot, instead of the inner arch. That'll protect your knee. Gently gaze up, surrender. Interlace your hands, fingers behind you. Open up as you inhale. And as you exhale, hinge forward. Head reaches for the toe. And interlace hands, reach up towards the sky. Make sure you're breathing. And come on out whenever you need to. Inhale when you're ready, back up to warrior one. And switch to warrior two. So feet come in one straight line. Knee is still bent. Extend both arms. Really reach through your fingertips so you're reaching in both directions. Your gaze is past your right fingertips, as if you're gazing into the infinity. Warrior poses are very strong poses. What are you a warrior of today? Fighting for health of your family, peace within, peace in the world, whatever it is. Use this time to contemplate on what you use your strength for. Flip your front palm up and lean back into a reverse warrior. Your left hand is gently resting on your leg. You're gazing into the palm of your right hand. Exhale, set your right forearm on your right thigh. Left fingertips reach up overhead. Make sure your neck is in the same line as your spine, so your neck isn't drooping down. Rather, it's an extension of your spine. Flow between reverse warrior and side angle. Flowing with your breath. Once you've reached side angle, you'll set your left fingertips down towards the mat as you pivot up on your left toes. Heel comes up off the mat. Reach your right fingertips up towards the sky as you twist. Revolved side ankle. Breathing. Lower your hand back to the mat. Inhale deeply and step forward. Go ahead and keep your knees bent here, but really press your torso, your chest into your thighs. Inhale, sweep just your upper half up into chair. And stand up nice and straight. So you'll probably feel your thighs maybe just really activated right now. Feel free to march it out, whatever you need to do. We'll work on some balancing poses now. So tree is a favorite yoga pose that's accessible. You can even do it, in the grocery store if you'd like to, or if you're on a walk and you want to do a simple yoga pose. And there's lots of variations. So you can start by taking your right leg and setting your heel on your ankle. Toes are still on the ground. So once again, kind of notice your hips if they've shifted and try to keep them facing forward. Your knee ideally should be opening up to the side. That depends on how flexible your hips are and other things. So treat yourself with kindness. These are just things to think about that will help us get us into proper, better alignment. Things to work towards. All right, so this is the first variation. If you'd like to take it a little bit deeper, a little bit more intense, you can bring your foot up to your shin. Make sure your foot is never on your knee joint. So your shin's the next place. You can stay here if you'd like to, or you can bring your foot all the way up to your inner thigh. Hands to prayer. And when you're ready, let your branches grow and blossom. Smile here. Feel free to sway if you'd like to, or if you just are, if you're trying to keep your balance. It's all good. Trees sway in the breeze, and that's what makes their roots stronger. The roots have to dig down deeper when the wind blows them around. Nice symbolic analogy for how we can strengthen and grow stronger from our adversaries. Hands back to prayer when you're ready, and lower your foot down with control. Feel free to march it out. And switch sides when you're ready. finding the variation that feels right to you. If you've been doing tree pose for a long time, and you can balance really well in it, the next step, or the next challenge is to close your eyes. So you can give that a try if you'd like an extra challenge. What kind of tree are you today? You can imagine there's some beautiful leaves branching out from your fingertips and the crown of your head. And when you're ready, hands come to prayer, and with control, lower your foot down. Right. Keep your feet now separated a little wider than hip width apart, once again, and interlace. This way. Interlace your hands behind you, and then you'll start to hinge from your hips, and your arms will rise up, hands reach towards the ceiling. This is double angle pose. You're creating a right angle in your hip as well as your shoulder. Keep your chest open here, keep your back straight as possible. Breathing. And release. Come back into a chair. So you'll just bend your knees, sit back in your chair, open your chest. This is a nice counter pose for the double angle. And straighten up. All right. Now we'll do a sequence that we've done the past couple times that I've taught at the temple. It's a nice balancing sequence, but there's some movement involved too, so you can make it really meditative, and it really forces us to concentrate. Sherry, one of my favorite yoga teachers and mentors, she always says when you're focused on balancing, you can't think about your worries or concerns because you're so focused on balancing. So that's what I think of when we do this sequence. So it's simple. It'll look like this. Inhale, knee up to a 90-degree angle. Exhale, push out through your heel, straighten your leg. Inhale, make your way into warrior three. So your back leg will reach back, push out through your heel, flex your foot. Arms reach forward. Back to center. Step your foot down as you exhale. And repeat the process. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. I got mixed up there somewhere. So you'll continue to flow with your breath. When you come into warrior three, make sure your hips are facing down, not out to the sides. Feel free to travel into another room if you're getting the hang of this and you want to continue your path without breaking it. And finish up on both sides, so you've done both sides evenly. And then when you're ready, make your way back to the center of the mat. Now we'll come into garland pose. So to come into garland pose, you'll separate your feet wide, toes will point a little bit away to the sides, and you'll bring your pelvis down to the mat. Now this is really intense for some people, and it's hard to bend at the ankles. So if this is challenging, what I recommend is either taking a couple folded blankets and setting your heels on those blankets, or if you don't have blankets, you can roll up the back of your mat. And this will create some height in your heels, and just give it a try. You'll really see a difference if you find this pose uncomfortable at all. So your elbows will push out on the inner thighs, your hands press together, and try not to collapse your chest. Try to keep it open without craning your neck, of course. So remember, neck is an extension of the spine. So thinking about that will help you to keep the integrity in your neck. This is a perfect transition to come into a chopping wood pose. So we stay with our legs in Malasana, in garland pose. And then we'll interlace our hands, fingers pointed out like this, kind of like a toy gun. And then you'll inhale, lift your arms up. Exhale, chop. Inhale, lift. Exhale, chop. And you can make your exhales really forceful through your mouth if you'd like to, or you can let it be more passive and natural. Alright, and better of a time than now to try out crow. So you'll set your palms on the mat, and you'll feel from here your thighs resting on your forearms. If you lift your toes up, you might need to walk your feet a little closer together. If you lift up on your toes, heels off the ground, your legs will reach up even higher, so you can set your knees up high on your forearms. Start to shift the weight into your hands, and maybe just work here. Just feel your hands bear your weight. And if you'd like to, you can try to lift one leg off, or one foot off the mat, and maybe both. If you have a friend or a partner nearby, it would be great to have them spot you if you're feeling a little unsure about this pose. They can stand right in front of you and make sure you don't fall forward. So play around with it for a few moments. Each day is different. And whenever you're ready, feel free to play with crow for a few more moments if you'd like. And whenever you're ready, come back down to a seated position. Once again, I highly recommend sitting on a couple blankets or a bolster. And instead of having your legs crossed like an easy pose, I'd actually like you to have one leg in front of the other, so I can come up and it'll look kind of like this. We're really opening up our hips today. Okay, remember you're lengthening in your spine. Sweep your arms up as you inhale. And as you exhale, begin to fold forward. Trying to make that fold happen from the hips rather than rounding our back. So you might think about clawing your fingers forward. Creating a little bit of a sway will help you to lift up out of your hips. And then as you exhale, you can round your spine gently. Let your head hang and allow your head to bring your torso closer to the mat. Inhale, and you come gently up and lengthen. Exhale, release. So this is another pose where you can really find variations that feel good for you today. You might enjoy more of a passive variation where you just let your head hang heavy. If you're doing that, really take some deep breaths into your belly, and that'll allow you to expand your lower spine. And then as you exhale, you'll really feel as if you can hinge deeper towards the mat. Or you might enjoy more of a active lengthening of your spine. You can press your hands into the mat and gently pull your hands towards you, and you'll feel as if your spine is lengthening. Maybe take a little bit of a combination of the two variations. Everyone, let your head hang heavy. And take 3 deep breaths into your belly. In and out. Feeling more relaxed with each exhale. After your third exhale, walk your hands back towards your body. First, just noticing how you feel. Sit up nice and tall. And then switching feet, so now the opposite foot comes in front. Sitting nice and tall. Inhale, sweep your arms up. Exhale, forward fold. So feel free to find a variation that feels right for you. Feel free to create a little movement in this forward fold. Take a few really deep belly breaths, allowing you to get deeper into the pose. See if you can use your breath to help you relax. Robert Frost has a popular quote. He says, "In 3 words, I can sum up everything I've learned about life. It goes on." So that's something to contemplate. Maybe if you ever feel as if you're kind of maybe trapped in a certain mindset or a certain stage of life, or maybe a certain yoga pose, it'll go on. And just like spring, it'll come back around again. We're never stuck in one place forever. Go ahead and walk your hands back up to a seated position. Feeling nice and tall through the spine. Inhale. Let your left arm come up overhead now and walk your right hand away from you. Nice, gentle side stretch. Remember, let your neck be an extension of your spine, so no droopy heads. Inhale, back up. Switch your feet one more time. And inhale, right hand comes up and over, walking your left fingertips away from you. Try not to dump too much weight into your left hand, it's just there to support you. Making sure you are remaining keeping contact with both sit bones. You're not letting all the weight distribute to your left sit bone, you're feeling it still connected through your right sit bone as well. Inhale, back up to center. And when you're ready, make your way all the way back down to your back. From here, just extend your arms up in one direction. So you're reaching through your fingertips in one direction, and you're pushing out through your heels, reaching your heels in the opposite direction. Just really stretching your body nice and long here. Return your hands back down to your sides, palms facing down. Inhale, your legs back up so your soles of your feet are once again facing the ceiling. And really imagine as if your legs are pressing into a wall here, so try to get them as straight as possible. You might notice a difference now versus the beginning of class. You might be able to stretch your legs straighter. Really push out through your heels, reach your heels up towards the ceiling. Now you can stay here if you'd like. If you want to take this deeper, and if shoulder stand is part of your practice, you can take a shoulder stand. If you've never done shoulder stand, I really encourage you to wait till you're in the presence of a teacher, actually physically with someone who can help you. So please just stay here with legs up the wall if you're new to shoulder stand. If you're familiar with shoulder stand, you can lift your hips up off the mat, walk your elbows closer together, and work towards a staff or a straight line. Now, don't move your head or neck while you're in this pose. So if you want to see the screen or you want to look around, come out of the pose first. From shoulder stand, if you're familiar with, oh gosh, the name escapes me. I'll remember it. If you'd like to bring your legs on the complete opposite side of your body, you may. Your feet might touch the ground or they may not today. And again, please don't try this pose if you've never done it before. Wait till you're in the presence of a teacher. Make sure you're not holding your breath. And then one vertebrae at a time, you'll roll on down. So legs up the wall, and then with control, lower your legs all the way down to the mat. All right. Bring your right knee in towards your chest and create some circles with your right ankle. Spinning in one direction and then the other. Take your right knee in your right hand, open your left arm out to the side, palms facing up, and bring your right knee out to the right side. So you're opening up your hip and thigh muscles. Breathe. What can you relax? Notice if you're holding any tension and see if you can soften. Bringing your knee back up to center. Hug it in again. Open your right palm out to the side and lower your left knee over to the left side. I'm sorry, your right knee over to the left side. A little bit of a deeper twist than we started with. If you'd like to, you can look out over your right fingertips. And once again, if you have a pillow or a block, if your knee doesn't touch the ground right now, you can place that block or pillow underneath your thigh. What can you release? What can you soften? Bringing your knee back up to center. Hug it in one last time. Extend it all the way up to the sky one last time, pushing out through your heel. And then with control, lower your leg down to the ground. Just notice how much different your right leg feels from your left. Likely your right leg feels a couple inches longer. We'll repeat that on the other side. So go ahead and hug your left knee into your chest and squeeze it in and to the left. So you're kind of reaching your knee towards your left armpit. Take your left knee in your left hand, open your right arm out to the side, and left knee opens up to the left. Take 3 deep breaths here. Allow each breath to relax you a little bit deeper into this pose. And when you're ready, bring your knee back to center. Hug it in. Take your left knee in your right hand this time. Open your left palm out to the side, palm facing up. And bring your left knee over to the right side. Again, you can place a block underneath your left thigh if your leg doesn't touch the ground today. And if you'd like to, you can gaze out over your left fingertips. With control, bring your left knee back up to center and hug it in. Extend it up one last time, pushing out through your heel, lengthen. Deep inhale in, and then as you exhale, lower your leg back down to the ground. All right, from here we will take the Shavasana. So take your time to get really comfy here. A few suggestions I have is to support your neck in some way. You can take a blanket and just roll it up a bit, and you can place that under your neck, and I promise you it'll make Shavasana so relaxing. It's such an improvement from just your head on the ground. So feel free to give that a try. Or, as long as you promise not to fall asleep, you can take a pillow, just a regular pillow, nothing too bulky, and place it under your head. For your legs, you can, if you have a yoga bolster, you can place that bolster under your knees, or you can take another pillow and place that under your knees, and that will just gently ground your lower back. It'll feel really nice. So if you have some pillows nearby or blankets or bolsters, set yourself up for complete relaxation. There's no need to skimp or make sacrifices here. You're here for yourself, so I'll give you plenty of time for Shavasana. So set yourself up really comfortably. If you have an extra blanket, you can even cover yourself if you feel cold at all. Put socks or a sweater on. Your hands can rest, one on your belly, one on your heart. Or more traditionally, you'll open your arms out to the sides, palms facing up. Relax your eyes. Relax your forehead. Let any creases in your forehead smooth away. Relax your jaw and your tongue. Relax any tension from your neck and shoulders. Feeling as if your shoulders are sinking away from your ears, sinking down into the ground. Completely let go. Let your arms feel heavy, as if your arms and hands are sinking into the earth. Let your belly and the organs within your torso soften. Taking some deep belly breaths will help to relax that area. Relax your hips and your pelvis. There's no need for anything to be tense here. See what you can let go of. Relax your thighs and your knees. And let your feet open up like a book, toes falling to either side. With each breath, you feel more relaxed. Each inhale you take comes into your body and cleanses it. And as you exhale, you release any tension that you may be feeling. These next few minutes are for you to enjoy complete stillness. If thoughts arise in your mind, acknowledge them briefly. Sometimes naming a thought will help you to separate yourself from that thought rather than dwelling on it. So you can acknowledge it briefly, like you're looking at a cloud in the sky, and then try not to dwell on it. Just let it pass like a cloud and redirect your attention to a clear blue sky. If your mind has begun to wander, recognize that that's normal, it's okay, and just gently redirect your attention back to your breath or back to the clear blue sky. Release yourself from any thoughts that might be binding you. slowly begin to bring your awareness back to the present moment. Continue to lay here in this comfortable position. I'd like to read a short poem by John Muir, who was an environmentalist, one of the early environmentalists in the early 1900s. He says, "Climb the mountains and get their good tidings. Nature's peace will flow into you as sunshine flows into trees. The winds will blow their own freshness into you, and the storms their energy, while cares will drop off like autumn leaves." And one more poem by Helen Keller, who we all know, the story of Helen Keller. She says, "What a joy it is to feel the soft, springy earth under my feet once more, to follow grassy roads that lead to ferny brooks, where I can bathe my fingers in a cataract of rippling notes, or to clamber over a stone wall into green fields that tumble and roll and climb in riotous gladness." Those are just a few meditations on how nature can reinvigorate us, can free us from oppression, from negativity, and bring joy into our lives. So although right now we are going through an unfortunate time, there's still so much to be thankful for, and nature and spring are a great reminder of that right now. Take the last few moments as you lay here to contemplate on something, someone, anything in your life that you personally feel gratitude for. And continue to meditate on that object of gratitude, feeling yourself become a vessel for that feeling of gratitude. So if your body was like a container, as you focus and meditate on whatever it is that came to mind that you feel grateful for, feel as if your body is filling up with that gratitude. And try not to have any preconceived ideas about what gratitude should feel like in your body. It's different for different people. It's different depending on the day or what it is you're thinking about. You might feel your heart is very full. You might feel a smile come to your lips or to your eyes. Gratitude can manifest itself physically in our bodies in so many ways, so allow it to manifest naturally for you right now. And then bring your attention to something or someone or a group of people in your life or in the world that you would like to share some of that positivity with. We just filled ourselves up with that gratitude. Now I'd like you to imagine you're radiating that positive energy out to someone or a group of people or something. And how does that feel in your body? Feel it radiating out of you. When you're ready, roll over onto one side in a little fetal position. And remind yourself that you can always return back to this feeling of calmness, this feeling of gratitude and positivity. Anytime throughout your day, throughout the week, whenever you need a refresher. You can always return back to this feeling. So take a few more seconds to notice how your body feels, how your breath feels, how your mind and mental state feel. Seal it in. And this is a power that you have. You can return back to it whenever you need. Go ahead and push yourself up nice and slow into a seated position. Bringing your hands to prayer, to heart center if you'd like to. We can finish with one chant of Om, followed by 3 chants of Shanti, which means peace. Deep inhale in. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Thank you so much for taking time to practice yoga. This was a fantastic experience, so thank you so much for supporting yoga in the temple. I hope you have a fantastic, peaceful day. Namaste.